So in the previous demonstration, we created a Lewis app and published that as a service. Let's take a look now at how we can consume that app from a client. So previously I created my Lewis app and I published it to a production slot using this option here. And this is the endpoint that I've got for my client apps to connect to my Lewis app. And what I've done is I've copied that endpoint, and over in my client code here, I've got some Python code. I have just pasted that endpoint in here. So that's the endpoint URL that I'm going to use to make an HTTP connection from my client app, which in this case is just this Python script, and it's going to connect to my Lewis app. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to connect, and then I'm going to enter a command. So I'm going to get a prompt here to enter a command, which I'll type in, and then we'll send that command to my Lewis app. There's a little bit of code in here. If the command has spaces in it, that's going to mess up the URL. So we're just going to replace those with a little plus symbol so that they get encoded in the URL properly. And then we'll put that together. That's going to be our request. And then we will submit that to our endpoint, and we'll get back the response. The response will come back as a string, which we'll just decode. It's actually a binary array. We'll decode that, and then we'll load that as a JSON document. And then within that JSON document, we're going to look for a top scoring intent and get the intent. And if that is light on, then we're going to display an appropriate image. If it's light off, we'll display another appropriate image. And if it's something else entirely, we'll display yet another image. So that's pretty much the logic. We send our command, we get back what the Lewis app says the intent is for that command, and from that we'll then take an appropriate response. So let's go and run this code, and it's going to ask me to enter in a command. So I'll just enter one of our utterances. Switch on the light. And I get back my response, and you can see there's a picture of a lamp here with the light on. Now actually I entered switch on the light, and my utterance was switch the light on, but the word orders made no difference. It still figured out that's the right command. And if I run it again, we can try something else. So we could say turn the light off, and back comes an appropriate response, and we display an image here showing the lamp without the light on, so the light is off. So with this very simple example here, you've seen that we can build a Lewis app. We can specify the intents that our app is going to have. We give some sample utterances for those intents, and we train the app, and then it's able to respond to requests from the client and send back the appropriate information about, well, this is the intent we believe that the user wants, and then the app can take the appropriate response based on that.